Welcome to this astrologically led yoga practice, guided by the energy of Sagittarius. Symbolized by the archer, Sagittarius invites us to aim higher, to expand beyond what we know and explore what lies just beyond our reach. This class invites you to explore expansion in breath, in movement, and in awareness, to take up space with curiosity and to trust where the body wants to go. As you move, feel into the spaciousness between each inhale and exhale, each stretch and release. Notice where you can invite a little more play and find a little more freedom. When we give ourselves space on the mat, we create room to grow in our lives. And growth and expansion is what Sagittarius is all about. When you're ready, unroll your mat and let's begin. Welcome to class, friends. You can find the Spotify playlist for this class below. When you're ready, get yourself set up on your mat and we'll begin today's class lying down on our backs in a Shavasana. So take your time to find your way there, to lengthen the feet to the corners of the mat, the arms alongside the body, and making any readjustments you might need to find yourself grounded here. Notice the soft rise and fall of the breath, and the parts of your body that make contact with the mat beneath. Perhaps start to trace the outline of your skin, the boundary separating inner world from outer world. Wrapping around your toes, up the calves, the thighs, across the belly, the back of the spine, up into the shoulders, wrapping down into the arms and the fingertips, and then weaving its way up the back of the neck, around the skull. Noticing this whole body feeling of support and containment. And then start to draw your awareness into your breath. Notice it move in through the nose and out through the nose. A natural expansion with each breath in, and a softening, a gentle contraction with each breath out. We need both of these pieces. We need contraction in order to feel the contrast of expansion. Anything that expands must come back to contract, to shrink. Continue to keep your awareness on your breath, noticing it move in, expanding the belly, the chest. Noticing it move out, softening the belly, the chest. See if you can draw the breath down a little deeper, as if it could flow all the way down into the pit of your pelvis. And then as you find your next full breath in, opening the mouth, release, sigh it out. And then find a pause at the bottom for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, find fullness, expansion through the body. And then open the mouth, exhale, release it all out. Holding at the bottom, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And final time, find a full breath in, notice the feeling of expansion. And exhale, open the mouth. Breath flows out, belly softens. Find a hold at the bottom, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then returning to your natural breath. Now start to imagine the breath beginning at the belly. As you find your breath in, it radiates down towards the right toes, toward the corner of the mat. And on the breath out, it floats back up the leg and toward the center of the belly. Continuing with this idea, playing with this concept of the breath traveling from the belly to the foot. And then the next time you find your in-breath, as the breath expands down towards the toes, maybe you start to lengthen the toes away a little further toward the top corner of the mat, as if your breath was guiding this feeling of lengthening through your leg. And on the breath out, the toes soften back, the hip draws back into the socket. Inhale to lengthen the toes. Exhale to retract back. And starting to play with this in the opposite leg, drawing the breath from the belly to the left toes, and expanding the leg out in space as you find your breath in, find length. And then on the breath out, pulling the hip back towards the socket. This feeling of almost tug of war with your breath here. This pushing and pulling, lengthening and expanding. And maybe invitation to float the arms up and overhead as you find this breath from belly into right arm, lengthening, reaching up and out through the right fingertips on the breath in, and softening the arm back in the breath out. And doing the same through the left arm. Inhale, belly up into the left fingertips. Exhale to soften the arm, drawing it back into the socket. Continue to radiate, using your breath to lengthen through the legs, the arms. Maybe finding a full body expansion here, allowing everything to draw out and open up on the breath in, and soften, contract back to center on the breath out. What does it feel like to expand, to take up space here? And start to find a soft bend into the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the mat. Then stacking the heels underneath the knees. Scoop the tailbone under, and as you find your in-breath, slowly peel each piece of the spine up off the mat, finding a bridge pose. Find a full breath in at the top, and then on the breath out, slowly soften each vertebrae back down to meet the earth. Inhale to rise, to lift, to find fullness. And exhale to soften, vertebrae by vertebrae, spine meets the mat. One last time, find your breath in, ground down through the heels, reach the hips up. Maybe the arms even float up and overhead here. And find your strength. Sagittarius rules the legs, the part of our body that moves us through space, that allows us to adventure and explore the world around us. As you find your next breath out, slowly soften the spine back down to meet the mat. And heel toe the feet out to the edges of the mat as you allow the knees to sway from side to side, finding windshield wipers, matching the pace of your own breath here. Noticing the length through the thighs, the space from the hip crease to the knees as you rock from side to side. This is your space to explore and play. Maybe inviting this idea of pushing the edges a little. What does it feel like to reach through the knee, to squeeze through the glute, to find length through the thigh? You might continue to play with that idea of lengthening through the top of the leg, so much that the leg guides you over on toward the side of the body. And then back through center. Other side, lengthen, reach through the knee to draw you onto your side body. And then drawing the knees over to the other side. finding your version of play and exploration here. Sagittarius is also the sign of truth. But for each of us, that looks different. A different version of truth exists for all of us. So what movement feels true for you to explore here? The next time your knees fall over to the right, bringing them to stack. Right arm extends out long and left palm comes to meet it. And as you find your breath in, expand through the back of the rib cage, fill up the lungs. And exhale to sweep the left arm across the chest, opening up towards the left. Inhale to bring palms to touch. Exhale to open up as if you were pulling the bow of a bow and arrow, embodying this Sagittarian archetype. And then find a moment of pause here as you open. What does it feel like to reach through the fingertips? To broaden through the chest from collarbone to collarbone. And then on your next breath out, drawing the hands back to touch. And slowly make your way back onto your spine. And this time allowing the knees to fall over toward the left. Bringing right knee to stack over top of left as you lie on your side body. Bring the hands to touch, right hand to stack on left. Inhale here, fill the lungs. And exhale to open, finding your twist. And the next breath in, drawing the hands back to stack, finding your side body. Inhale here. And exhale to peel the chest open to open the right arm out. Then one final time as you find your breath in, slide the right arm back across the body, find your side body. And then on the next breath out, opening up. And pausing here for a few breaths. Again, inviting space across the chest, across the width of the arms, as if they were the wings of a bird opening out wide. How can you find more space? How can you take up more room here? Then as you're ready, draw your way back onto the left side of your body, and then rolling back towards the spine. Again, find a bend into the knees, soles of the feet come to meet the mat. And then softly draw the knees in towards the chest.